All right, all right, all right. Let's go ahead and get started. Happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day Wednesday. You are halfway through, only a couple more days to go. So, thank you for joining. I'm going to give a few minutes for people to come on in, but I am going to kind of get started. I like to be on time so we can get on and get off, get any questions that anyone has, get those answered. So, first and foremost, I want to say again, thank you for joining. I know that anything that has to deal with estate planning, power of attorney, healthcare directives, those are very difficult conversations to have. And so I commend you and applaud you for coming and talking about this or getting more information about this to move forward for you, for both you, your family, and your loved ones. Also, I understand that by nature, most of us are procrastinators. So the fact that we're doing this and hopefully we can make some steps towards your estate plan, power of attorneys, getting things in order, we can do that today. And I know that we are procrastinators. I'm going to share something really, really quick. It just reminded me yesterday in a couple days, things that have been going on. Life has been really, really crazy. But and I don't know if any of you are fitness enthusiasts or exercise enthusiasts. I am not. But I understand the importance of exercise, eating right, all that good stuff. One, so a power of attorney, something doesn't happen, so someone has to use the power of attorney on me because I haven't taken care of myself. That's one reason. But two, I just don't enjoy it. But I recently decided to do a 30-minute daily walk challenge. And what I realized is, again, I don't like doing it. So when I do it usually in the first thing in the morning so I can just get it out of the way. And sometimes I struggle. I struggle. Like, am I going to go? Is it raining? Is there a cloud like a mile away? Is there like a 5% chance it's going to rain? I will try to talk myself out of it. But inevitably, when I go do my walk, 30 minutes, whether it's 20 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is, when I am done, I feel so much better, right? So there is a sense of peace that I have accomplished something and I have accomplished my goal and I've done it. Even though it was something I did not want to do, I actually did it. And I feel so much better. Not only that, I'm so much more productive during the day. And this kind of reminds me the same thing with estate plans. Nobody wants to do it because it's talking about when either us or someone that we love is no longer to care for themselves or ourselves. And so, again, coming here and listening to this and asking any questions that you may have is very, very beneficial. And when you do take these steps, there is a sense of peace afterwards and accomplishment that you do have. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. So if you are here, whether you're here live or you get the replay, you're going to get the video afterwards. And then I will send these slides to you as well. So you'll have them as a reference point. Just give me a minute to pull this up. And we are going to share. Okay, there we go. So hopefully you all can see me. I will check in periodically. Again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. The questions are anonymous, so your name does not show when you do ask a question. So again, thank you for coming in. Again, this webinar is about the power of attorney specifically. It's about protecting your loved ones before it's too late. So when I say loved ones, I'm referring to parents, grandparents, maybe there's an aunt and uncle, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's somebody who's younger. But overall, anyone that's in your life that may be experiencing a point in your life where they can no longer handle their own affairs. And the reason I decided to do this webinar specifically was because, again, I get a lot of calls from people who are needing power of attorneys for, again, same people, parents, spouses, children. And usually by the time someone calls me, it's too late to do it. At that point, they're looking into having to go to court to get either a guardianship or conservatorship. And so the point of me doing the power of attorney is to get some of this stuff in order beforehand. So you do not, or your loved ones do not have to go to court in order to get these things done, to have your affairs handled. So just a little bit about me, if you don't know who I am. Again, Tamika Johnson. I am originally from Connecticut, born and raised. I moved to Georgia when I was still in high school, my junior in high school. So I've been here for 30 years. So I am officially a peach. Once you've been somewhere 20, 25 years, you are officially, in my mind, that resident. So I'm officially a peach. I graduated from University of Georgia with my bachelor's, and I went to Southern University and received my JD from there. I have been practicing law for 18 years, solely in the state of Georgia. I am married, 3 children. You can see the ages there, 22, 6, and 4. So yes, at some point I did see the light, and then I got drugged back in and I started all over. So I have my young adult daughter and 2 young sons. So life is very, very interesting all the time, I must say. So we're just going to start off. What is the power of attorney? A power of attorney basically is a legal document that grants authority to another person to act on your behalf. Pretty simple, but there are different types of power of attorneys. And as you can see, what we have listed here, there's a general power of attorney, there's limited power of attorneys, there's springing power of attorneys, durable power of attorneys, and we're briefly going to talk about healthcare directives because it's also appointing someone to act on your behalf, just specifically in healthcare situations. So general power of attorney is usually what most people think of, like I get a power of attorney and it's in effect immediately, right? And you are the person who is signed off as the principal is what it's called, is granting another person to handle their business affairs. And there's a range of things that a person can handle. They can technically lease property, rent property. They can obtain stocks and bonds in your name. They could file lawsuits on your behalf. A plethora of just different things. But it goes into effect immediately and just covers a range of things or whatever you want to select. And it's effective then. A limited power of attorney is for a specific act. So for example, if maybe you need to buy a home or sell a home, and let's say you're married and one of the spouses just can't make it, they're not in the state, they're traveling out the country or somewhere else, and they need someone to sign on their behalf. It's a limited power of attorney for one transaction, for one property. In the state of Georgia, it does have to be a very specific power of attorney to do that. One transaction that's limited. A springing power of attorney, and this is what I usually focus on with most of my clients, is you sign the power of attorney today, but it does not go into effect today. It only goes into effect when it is needed. And there's specific instructions in the power of attorney. So basically mine say, again, does not go into effect now, but if I become incapacitated or disabled, that's when it will go into effect. And the way that it is termed in my power of attorneys is if you are unable to handle your own affairs, you're not competent for 30 days, say, or 45 days, it will go into effect. However, it is very specific that 2 physicians have to attest to the fact that you are unable to handle your own affairs. So those letters have to be accompanied with the power of attorney before that person can do anything. And I, make sure everyone knows that, because again, people feel like, oh, I'm giving up my right, or someone else can act on my behalf. They can conduct business in my name immediately. Again, that's not true, especially if we do the springing power of attorney, which is the ones I usually do for most people, because I will only work with clients that, again, in my professional opinion, have full capacity and are competent to make that decision now. A durable power of attorney, basically means I'm giving you power of attorney now, but in the event I become incapacitated, it's still effective. So in a general power of attorney, it's effective currently, but if you become incapacitated, it's no longer effective. So with a durable power of attorney, it is effective now, and it is also effective in the event you become incapacitated. And healthcare directives, kind of similar, but the power of attorneys, the financial power of attorneys, those apply to anything that is not health related. So it's anything that's health related, a healthcare decision has to be made. Maybe you're unconscious and you can't, again, make your own healthcare decisions. You appoint a healthcare agent. And most of you, especially in Georgia, again, so a lot of the information I give is general information, but the more specific things are going to be for Georgia specifically. When you go to a doctor here in Georgia now, or the hospital, they will usually ask you, do you have a healthcare directive, an advanced directive for healthcare? And we provide those with all of our estate plans. So you can do it either as a one-off, which I usually don't do, but if you have a will plan or you have a trust plan, that's all included. You get the power of attorney, the financial power of attorney, and the healthcare power of attorney. So you want to have both of them. And when you do it, you want to make sure it's someone that you trust, and you want to, if at all possible, have a successor person in the event that that first person cannot be an agent for you. So those are the differences in the power of attorneys. Also, Georgia recently came out, and some other states have already had it, but there are psychiatric directives. And I'm not going to get too much into that, but basically that is for patients who suffer from mental illness, so maybe schizophrenia, bipolar, PTSD. And it goes into effect when they are having an episode. So they sign it when they're not having an episode, but if they do have an episode, it defines what mechanism, what things can be done maybe to calm that person down, who they should see, who should be contacted. Are there some methods that help calm them down? If they need to be committed, they have preferences, that kind of thing. So that's specifically for mental illnesses and psychiatric decisions. So that is also something that came into effect and came into law here in Georgia in 2022. Those are things. So again, the power of attorney, the financial one, it's just important for managing finances, healthcare, and personal business. So, maybe someone needs to get access to a bank account, and without a power of attorney, you can't do it if you're not on the account. And some banks are really, really strict about having that specific documentation there in advance. So why you need a power of attorney? Basically, it provides a trusted person with legal authority to make decisions if you are unable to do so. So again, you really want to think about who is it that you trust, and be mindful. 2 different documents: power of attorney, the financial part, and healthcare directive. Those may be 2 different people. There may be someone that whether it's your spouse or a child, who's really good with handling business affairs, but you may have someone else who is more in tune to medical needs and that kind of thing. So those can be 2 totally different people, but you want it to be someone that you trust. Absolutely. It ensures that your wishes are followed regarding your finances and healthcare. Again, when I don't know if you can see this. This is a sample power of attorney in Georgia. So these are just different things that a power of attorney can do. You can select specific ones, individual ones, or you can select them all. So, a person can, file taxes on your behalf if need be. So there's a range of things that you can give another person authority to do. So just make sure that it's someone that you trust. And it avoids court-appointed guardianship or conservatorship, which can be time-consuming and costly, obviously. So let's say you can pay, let's say right now you were going to get a power of attorney and healthcare directive. It may cost you $150 to do so. But if you do it at the point where someone has already been experiencing, again, maybe dementia, or they suffer from a stroke, they just don't have all their faculties, you're going to have to go to court at that point. And so you've got court costs. There will be, in the state of Georgia, a guardian ad litem appointed for the person. There'll also be a court-appointed attorney. And then there'll be, let's say, you, who has your own attorney. And so it can get costly pretty quickly. So you're easy looking at $500 at a minimum, which I think it's more than that, to $1,000 if you wait too long. So if you had the power of attorney beforehand, you don't have to go through all of that. So that's why, it's important just to kind of do things ahead of time. It just saves money and it saves on confusion. And this next slide will share how a power of attorney protects you and your loved ones. It reduces stress and uncertainty during emergencies. And I assure you, 9 times out of 10, let me say that, I assure you, 9 times out of 10, if there's more than one person in your life and a decision has to be made between a medical emergency, let's say you're experiencing a medical emergency, but something else needs to be done financially, there will be conflicts. 9 times out of 10, there are conflicts. I speak to people who are like, oh, it'll be fine. My kids, they'll be fine. They're not going to fight. And then they do. 9 times out of 10, they will. And so you just want to have it defined. Some months ago, I had a family friend who had called me on a Saturday. I didn't know what it was about, but it was someone that my dad had known for a while. So I took the call, and she was very, very frantic because her sister was in a hospital, had a procedure, and the doctors suggested she go to rehab. And her sister was married, but her husband, the sister's husband, had just had like a stroke or a heart attack or something like that. And so he was home, but he was not able to get around, and he was not able to go to the hospital to see his wife, which is the lady I'm talking about, the sister. In the interim, her sister's daughter had gotten involved. So she went to the hospital. She's making all these decisions. She's writing everything down, giving authority for this, authority for that. The doctors recommended that the sister go to rehab, but the daughter was like, no, she's not going to rehab. She's coming to me. And so it was just all this chaos. And so the woman called me, was like, how do we get out of this? My sister, she's in the right frame of mind, but my daughter, while she was out, while she was, incoherent and unable to sign anything, the daughter had come in, very loud, very demonstrative. And so the doctors are confused as to what's going on. So the doctors, kind of stalled and was like, well, if you can get, power of attorney, healthcare directive, we believe your sister's in the right frame of mind, but we just don't know, because the daughter started coming in, making all the decisions. The doctor stalled, and I advised this woman, what to do, what form to get, because it was a Saturday. And that's another point. Again, if it's an emergency situation, it may be an emergency for you, but it's not an emergency for the attorney. So another reason to do these things ahead of time. They were able to get everything worked out. I told her where to go, what forms to get, and they were able to get everything signed. But the doctors are kind of like, listen, we're not lawyers, we're not judges, we're not interested in having to make this decision, figure out who to listen to. The person who was the loudest is usually the one that the doctors listen to, and that may not be the person that you want making decisions for you. So this, absolutely, the financial power of attorney, healthcare directives, it reduces the stress and the uncertainty during emergencies. So always good to have that done in advance. Prevents financial exploitation by appointing a trusted individual. So when there is nothing in writing, nieces, nephews, they creep in. There's some long lost someones who come into the picture, and they start snooping in and looking into documentation. They start changing things. I've seen it time and time again. Somebody will come in, a long lost someone. Oh, I'll take care of so-and-so. I got it. And all the while, they're changing bank accounts. They're changing beneficiaries on life insurance policies. And so it's important to have someone, again, that you trust. Let them know that in the event that something happens to you, you can't make your own decisions. These are where the documents are. Definitely let them know, because there's sometimes people, they don't know. They don't know that they have the authority to do anything because the principal or you has not expressed that information or share that information. So definitely you want to get in order, because people come out the work. People are unscrupulous at times. They're shady and unscrupulous. So very, very important to have this in order. And it facilitates healthcare decisions aligned with your wishes. So especially with the healthcare directive, it goes a little bit more in depth, and I won't go, super in depth about that, but just certain situations. It also addresses, again, maybe you're in a place where you have a terminal illness or condition as determined by doctors and physicians. Do you want to try to extend your life as long as possible? Do you want feeding tubes? Do you want ventilators? Do you want like all kinds of medications, procedures, whatever that can be done to extend your life as long as possible? Or do you just want to let your natural death occur? I mean, it addresses those kinds of things. You don't have to answer them if you don't want to answer them, but you can also just appoint a person who can make those decisions for you. Or do you want something in the middle? Like I want some things, but not other things. So you just, again, want to make sure that all that is communicated and put in writing and is taken care of. So right now we're going to go over, I'll make sure I stay on time. That one's end around 12:30 or so, and then answer any questions that you may have. Myths and understandings about power of attorneys. Kind of talked about already. The first myth is that power of attorney is only for the elderly, and that is absolutely not true. If you are over 18 years old, you should have a power of attorney. I, talk to people who have college students or children who just graduated from high school. Once they turn 18, you can no longer make those decisions for you. And trust me, at 18, you still need to make some decisions, a lot of decisions for your kids. Just because they turn 18 doesn't make them all knowing. You all know this if you have kids over 18. So if you have kids who are going off to school or they're just living on their own, you want to make sure they have a power of attorney as well. Unfortunately, things happen. I've seen situations where there was, a young adult, 23, 24, and both of his or her parents are still living, but they're no longer together. And a mother has one thing that she wants to be done. The father has another thing that they want to be done. They're not on the same page. So again, there's a lot of conflict, misunderstandings, and no one knows kind of what to do or who to listen to. Again, usually the person who was the loudest usually gets their way. So you want to make sure, you have your kids like, hey, sit down with them. I'm doing this power of attorney for me. I would like for you to do one as well, just in case, and just get it over with and just have it done. And so again, so for anyone 18, 25, 40, 60, everyone should have a power of attorney, at least a springing power of attorney, when it only goes into effect when you can't make your own decisions. Myth number 2, power of attorney means giving up control. And again, that's false. It only activates when necessary. Again, in the power of attorneys that I do specifically, which are the springing power of attorneys. All power of attorneys are the same, and we've already gone over that. That is not true. There's different purposes for different situations for those power of attorneys. So the dangers of not having a power of attorney, again, the not having a power of attorney could lead to court intervention and anytime you have to deal with any type of court. Again, it may be an emergency for you, but it's not an emergency for the system. It's not an emergency for an attorney. And so it can take longer than needed to get that authority. Your family may face financial and legal complications. It's not cheap. It's expensive, especially if there's conflict. One person has an attorney and, you need to get an attorney. You've got to pay for that up front. Now, when if you are an agent and you do have a power of attorney over someone else, you are managing their assets and their affairs. So it's not any cost associated, are not your personal responsibility, but it comes from the estate of the person who needs those decisions made. Again, we're just talking about power of attorneys right now and healthcare directives. So, but until then, the money comes out of your pocket. And again, it could be very, very costly. And again, potential conflicts among family members regarding your care, it happens all the time. And it can take months to resolve. And sometimes you cannot repair those relationships once they've been damaged and words have been said. So again, always, if you can, prepare ahead of time. Next, we have how to establish a power of attorney. Very, very simple. Contact or consult with an estate planning attorney. If you're in Georgia, you have one here already, but there are plenty of other ones as well. If you are in another state and you're listening to this, send me an email and I can find one for you if you can't find one where you are locally. But before you contact an attorney, choose who you want to be your agent, someone that you trust. And again, whether you're having a financial power of attorney or healthcare power of attorney or directive, those will be 2 separate people. And make sure that you have 2 people listed. So you have a primary one in the event they can't do it, that you have someone else. There's no limit to the successor agent. So you can have as many as you want, but I say at least 2, the primary one and then another one after that. Remember, your doctor, healthcare provider, they cannot be your healthcare power of attorney, and they cannot be your power of attorney. So I know some people think that, oh, well, my physician will be. The physician cannot be your power of attorney or agent for healthcare or financial decisions. And then you're going to just specify the scope and duration of the power of attorney. Like I said, there's different power of attorneys. You choose the one that's best for you and what you have going on in your life. And just ensure the document's properly executed and notarized. Some things have to be notarized, some things don't. Everything does have to be witnessed in Georgia. You do need 2 unrelated witnesses and witnesses who are not listed in the power of attorneys or healthcare directives. They cannot be witnesses. One needs to be notarized and the other one does not. And that's about it. And I'm going to figure out how I can get to any questions. Let me see. Okay. Does anyone have any questions before I wrap it up? Anyone? No. Okay. So let me go back to the screen share again. I'm going to try to end by 12:30, and I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. Let me get back to my screen share. I don't know how to do it. Okay. Hold on. And okay. So we should be. Nope. Back to screen share. I'm trying a new platform, so please bear with me right now. Here we go. We can get back to the last page. Okay, perfect. Okay, so just as a recap, this again was just supposed to be a really quick webinar on protecting your loved ones today. And I do want to say and reiterate that if you are listening to this, you're watching this, not only do your loved ones need a power of attorney, not only do your parents need one, aunts, uncles, grandparents, sister, brother, but if you are here, you need one as well, because you realize the importance of it. And so just everyone, if you're over 18, just having this in order. I was at a presentation yesterday at luncheon, and I saw this sign, this photo. It said, "Today's the day that you thought about yesterday." And it's just a reminder that, again, we kind of put things off. And I'll give you another quick example. Yesterday was a really crazy day for me. And I have a phone. I don't know if you can see this, or you're looking at this. You can see it. This is my phone. It's cracked all over the place. It's got a line in the middle. I can barely touch it. My phone got ran over by several cars yesterday. I was taking my sons to school, and I left my phone for whatever reason on top of my car. The school is probably about 3-4 miles away from the house. Probably mile 2, the phone, I guess, falls off the car. I didn't know it did, but it did. And so the interesting thing is, like a month or so ago, I was thinking, I kept my phone in this case. So it's a wallet. I keep my phone here. On this side, I have my license, I have my cards, I have my insurance cards, and my bar card, I have my AAA card. Like, I had everything in here. So my life is in here. It's my phone, not only my phone, but everything else, all identifying information. And I was thinking to myself, I really need to split these up. I probably should just have a separate wallet and then have my phone somewhere else, because if something happens to my wallet, which I carry this all the time, I just may carry this and nothing else, no purse, no bag or anything, because it's easy. Everything is right here. But I probably should not have all this in one spot. And I thought about it, and I did nothing about it. And then yesterday, so when I lost my phone, I get back home, I ask my husband, is my phone here? Calling it, don't see it. We can track each other's phones. So he looked on the app, we saw where the phone was. It's by the street. So we go back, we go looking for my phone. First thing I saw, and I purposely got a pink case so in case I could see it, because I'm getting a little bit older. I just need something that identifies things easily for me. I saw the case on the ground. Pull over, like stop in traffic, get the case. Get the case, no phone. I'm like, oh shoot. I'm looking around and I see my cards, my license, like things are just scattered in the road. So in between cars, grabbing it. Still didn't see the phone. Finally see my phone. I'm like, there's my phone. At the same time, a fire truck was coming. Woo, woo, woo. So all the traffic stopped on each side. Fire truck comes. I'm looking at my phone. Fire truck runs right over my phone. I see the phone up in the air, flipping and come back down. And I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. I did get my new phone today, if anybody cares to know. I did get the new phone, so I'll transfer it after this. But it was just in that moment when I went back home, didn't know where my phone was. Before we tracked, I'm like, gosh, did somebody take my phone? They have all my information. They have my ID. They can, look up online because none of our information is private. They can get my phone number. They can lock the phone. They have access to everything. Now they can, if there's a 2-step authentication process for something, they can just use the phone and get it. And so I'm like freaking out. I'm like, my phone is one thing. I can get my phone replaced immediately, but everything else, it was a little worrisome. Like I was really, really worried. Like I'm going to have to make all these calls, cancel all these cards. And I say all this to say, I thought about this a month or two ago, never did it. And it is the same thing when it comes to estate planning. It's the same thing when we're talking about giving a power of attorney, healthcare directive, thinking about at a time when we're no longer here, or we're not able to make our own decisions. It is daunting, but it's so, so important. And I promise you, once you've done it, there's the sense of peace that just comes along with it. So I encourage you to look into, getting your affairs in order and just doing it and getting it out the way. So now I will not have my phone and my wallet in the same place. Everything will be separate because I'm not doing this again at all. So, and again, by the time you need a power of attorney and healthcare director, like you really, really need it, it's going to be too late, like to get that, because you have to be in the right frame of mind. You've got to be competent and coherent and of the right mental state to be able to execute a power of attorney. So now is the time to do it before something happens, before you start seeing some weird things happen from somewhere else, another family member, a spouse or child. Get it done now. For attending this webinar, whether you're here live or you get the replay, my gift to you is I usually don't do one-offs, meaning just do a power of attorney or healthcare directive. I usually just include them in the plans that I do, but it is $150 to get a power of attorney in an advanced healthcare directive, also known as a living will, done if you schedule a consultation by Friday evening. I'm also waiving the consultation fee, which is usually $99. You don't have to do the work by the 23rd, but just schedule that consultation by the 23rd. If you want to do more, again, more than the power of attorney or healthcare directive, we have will plans, we have trust plans. If you book by the 23rd, you just visit the website at johnsonlawpractice.com. You can book it online. $250 off your will or trust plan if you're single, $500 off of your will or trust plan if you are married. Even if you have an estate plan, power of attorney, healthcare directive, it's always good to revisit them about every 3 years just to see if anything has changed. If we need to change some beneficiaries, some people, some agents, it's always good to do that. So again, if you book by the 23rd, which is Friday, I will honor these prices, these fees, and waive that consultation fee as well, because by Monday the consultation fee will be back up online. So this is my information. Again, thank you for attending. This is the phone number. My email address is there. Website is there. We have office location in Conyers, also in Lilburn, Georgia. Let me see, stop sharing. I'm going to check again to see if there's any questions. If there's any questions. I don't see any questions. Again, I will send, after this, I will send you this video, and I'll also send you the handouts if that will be a good reference point for you. And thank you for coming. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. And I hope to be in contact with some of you soon. Have a good one. Bye. Oh, hold on. Okay, I see one question that says, can you have 2 power of attorneys? I may have already answered that. So you can have, so I will say this, there is an option to have two power of attorneys to serve simultaneously. I do not advise having two power of attorneys to serve simultaneously because those are two different people. That means they have to agree. I strongly suggest against doing that. So I say, pick one, and if that person can't do it, then let the other person do it. I think that's the question that you had. Did that answer your question about the two power of attorneys? Okay. I think so. If you have any other questions, feel free to email me, and I will speak to you soon. Have a good one. Bye. Oh, wait, another question came in really quick. Is there anything unique we should consider if we want to POA for an elderly parent? Not necessarily specifically. So I'll tell you how I work. If I don't know you and you have an elderly parent, and I can't tell, like, there's been some changes in the way that you are mentally, anything like that, I will get an affidavit from your parent's physician, and they'll let me know, does this person in the right mind? Because they usually have a relationship with that person, so they can see, this person is competent to make these decisions. So that's the only thing I would say that to kind of consider if you have an elderly parent. If I don't know you personally, I will go the extra steps and reach out to your medical provider. Other than that, I mean, you can be 90 and have, all your faculties and be okay. You can be 60 or 45 and not. So it just kind of depends on the person and where they are. And I hope that answered that question. Okay, I think that's it. The third time. Have a great day, and I'll be talking to some of you soon.